Ted Bundy. He charmed, he hunted, he killed across states. Bundy confessed to 30 murders. Experts suspect more victims. His crimes span 1974 to 1978. Targets were young women, college students, hitchhikers. He used ruses and restraints. He returned to scenes. He hid remains in forests. Arrested in Utah, 1975. Evidence mounted quickly. He became a prime suspect. Wikipedia. He escaped in Colorado, 1977. Twice in 6 months. He fled to Florida. He struck again there. Wikipedia. Florida State University, 1978. Chi Omega House attacked. 2 women murdered. Others left grievously injured. Weeks later he killed again. Victim, Kimberly Leach, age 12. Abducted from school. Murder confirmed by investigators. ABC News. He was captured in 1978. A traffic stop ended it. Trials followed in Florida. Cameras filled the courtroom. Convictions came in 1979 to 1980. Death sentences were imposed. Appeals failed over years. He was executed in 1989. Encyclopedia Britannica. Why this case matters. He exploited trust and status. He weaponized charm and mobility. He understood police gaps. He manipulated media attention. He studied his own myth. Remember the victims' names. Their lives had promise. Families still grieve today. Their stories deserve respect. Safety lessons remain urgent. Beware coercive strangers. Trust instincts and boundaries. Report disappearances immediately. Share details with investigators. Small tips can break cases. Bundy is not a legend. He was a predator. He left devastation behind. Hold space for the victims. Jeffrey Dahmer. Known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, or the Milwaukee Monster. His crimes shocked the world. Between 1978 and 1991, he murdered 17 young men. Victims were often vulnerable. Men of color. Runaways. Young adults lured with promises. He drugged them. Strangled them. Performed experiments on their bodies. He practiced dismemberment. He preserved skulls. He stored body parts. Some in acid. Some in his refrigerator. In 1991, one victim escaped. He flagged down police. Officers entered Dahmer's apartment. They found horror inside. Photographs of corpses. Freezers full of remains. Evidence beyond denial. He was arrested that night. His trial began in 1992. He pled guilty but insane. Court found him sane. He was convicted of 15 murders. Sentence, 15 life terms. Later, another added. He would never walk free. In prison he was a target. On November 28, 1994, another inmate killed him. He died at age 34. Why this case matters. It shows missed opportunities. Police once returned a boy. A 14-year-old victim escaped. But officers dismissed concerns. That decision cost lives. It also shows systemic bias. Victims were minorities often ignored. Families pleaded for attention. Too often they were unheard. Dahmer remains infamous today. But the focus must stay on the 17 lives stolen. They were sons, brothers, friends. Their memory deserves respect. John Wayne Gacy. He was called the killer clown. But the truth was darker. Between 1972 and 1978, Gacy murdered 33 young men and boys. Most were lured to his home. He promised work. He offered drugs. He posed as a mentor. Once inside he used a trick. He showed victims handcuffs. He claimed it was a game. But it was no game. He raped. He strangled. He buried bodies beneath his house. Investigators grew suspicious in 1978. A teen disappeared after meeting Gacy. Police searched his home. The smell revealed horrors. Bodies stacked beneath floorboards. Others dumped in rivers. It was one of the worst crime scenes in U.S. history. Trial began in 1980. Evidence was overwhelming. Gacy was convicted of 33 murders. He was sentenced to death. For 14 years he appealed. In 1994 he was executed. Why this case matters. It showed how predators hide. Gacy was a contractor. A community volunteer. He even performed at parties dressed as Pogo the Clown. He looked safe. He was anything but. The case highlights systemic failure. Many victims were runaways. Many were ignored by police. Families' concerns went unanswered. By the time authorities acted, dozens were dead. Gacy's name is infamous. But the real story belongs to his victims. They were teenagers, dreamers, workers. They never got the chance to live their futures. Albert Fish. He was called the Gray Man, also the Brooklyn Vampire, and the Boogeyman. Albert Fish was a sadistic serial killer. He targeted children in the early 1900s. His known crimes span 1924 to 1932. He lured victims with kindness. He offered food. He promised work. He gained trust of families. But his intentions were monstrous. In 1928, Fish abducted Grace Budd, a 10-year-old girl. He posed as a wealthy employer. He convinced her parents to let her visit his farm. Grace never returned. Years later, he sent the Budd family a letter. It described in detail how he killed and cannibalized their daughter. That letter led to his capture. Police arrested Fish in 1934. He confessed to multiple murders. He also admitted to assaults and cannibalism. Investigators linked him to at least 3 child murders. But some experts suspect more victims. His trial took place in 1935. The evidence was horrifying. The jury deliberated only 10 days. He was sentenced to death. In January 1936, Albert Fish was executed in the electric chair. Why this case matters? It shows how predators hide in plain sight. Fish was elderly. He appeared frail. He pretended to be harmless. But beneath that mask he was a predator. His crimes left families scarred forever. Grace Budd's story remains one of the most chilling cases in American history. It is remembered not for Fish, but for the innocent life taken too soon. Richard Ramirez. He was called the Night Stalker. His reign of terror gripped California. Between 1984 and 1985, Ramirez committed a series of murders, assaults, and burglaries. His crimes stretched from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Victims ranged from children to the elderly. He showed no pattern in age, gender, or background. That randomness made him more terrifying. Ramirez often entered homes at night. He crept through open windows. He carried guns, knives, and hammers. He killed brutally. He raped, tortured, and robbed. He left satanic symbols behind. Fear swept across California. In August 1985, police identified him. Fingerprints and stolen car evidence revealed his name. When his photo hit the news, the public reacted instantly. A mob in East Los Angeles recognized him. Civilians chased him down. They held him until police arrived. At trial, Ramirez was defiant. He flashed a pentagram. He shouted "Hail Satan" in court. But the evidence was overwhelming. In 1989, he was convicted of 13 murders and dozens of other crimes. He was sentenced to death. Ramirez remained on death row for decades. In 2013, before his execution, he died of cancer. Why this case matters? Ramirez spread fear by showing crime can strike anyone, anywhere. His random targeting destroyed the idea of safety in one's home. He became a symbol of unchecked evil. But we must remember, the victims were more than names. They were parents, children, neighbors. Their lives deserve the focus, not his infamy. Andrei Chikatilo. He was called the Butcher of Rostov, also the Red Ripper. His crimes horrified the Soviet Union. Between 1978 and 1990, Chikatilo murdered at least 52 people. Most victims were women and children. He lured them near train stations and bus stops. He promised food, work, or shelter. Then he attacked in isolated areas. Chikatilo stabbed and mutilated his victims. The brutality shocked even hardened investigators. He often returned to crime scenes. Sometimes he consumed parts of the bodies. His methods left communities terrified. For years, police struggled. The Soviet system resisted admitting a serial killer existed. Innocent men were arrested. Some were executed. Meanwhile, Chikatilo kept killing. In 1990, surveillance caught him. Officers noticed his suspicious behavior at a train station. When they searched him, they found incriminating evidence. He was arrested. He confessed in chilling detail. Authorities matched him to dozens of murders. His trial in 1992 was notorious. He ranted in court. He mocked families. But the evidence was undeniable. He was convicted of 52 murders. In 1994, he was executed by gunshot. Why this case matters? It shows the cost of denial and secrecy. Soviet officials were slow to admit serial crimes. That delay gave Chikatilo freedom to kill. His victims were often marginalized, ignored by the system. Their deaths highlight the human toll of both crime and bureaucracy. Chikatilo remains one of the deadliest serial killers in history. But his victims, not his name, deserve remembrance. Jack the Ripper. The name still chills. Jack the Ripper. London, 1888. A foggy city gripped by terror. The killer targeted poor women. The crimes were brutal. Victims' throats slashed. Bodies mutilated. Organs removed with precision. At least 5 murders are confirmed. The canonical 5. Marion Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, Mary Jane Kelly. There may have been more. Letters taunted police. One signed Jack the Ripper. The name stuck forever. The press fueled hysteria. Crowds demanded justice. But the killer vanished into history. Scotland Yard investigated hundreds. Doctors, butchers, foreigners, locals. No suspect was ever proven. The case remains unsolved. That mystery adds to the infamy. Why this case matters. It defined the word serial killer. It showed how media amplifies fear. It revealed the struggles of policing cities. And it exposed society's disregard for vulnerable women. Even today, books, films, and theories flood the market. Some call it morbid fascination. But for many it is unfinished business. A century later, no closure. Jack the Ripper became a legend. But behind the legend were real women. Each one had a life, a story, a family. Their memory must stand above the myth. Pedro Lopez. He is known as the Monster of the Andes. One of the deadliest serial killers in history. Pedro Lopez confessed to murdering more than 300 girls. Most victims were between the ages of 8 and 12. His crimes spanned Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador during the 1970s. He preyed on vulnerable children, often from poor or rural families. He lured them with gifts. He promised food or small trinkets. Then he led them away. They never returned. In 1980, Lopez was arrested in Ecuador. Authorities found him attempting to abduct another girl. He confessed in chilling detail. He led police to mass graves. Hundreds of bodies were recovered. In 1983, he was convicted of 110 murders in Ecuador. He received a sentence of just 16 years. That was the maximum penalty at the time. In 1994, he was released. He was deported to Colombia. But justice was not final. He was later arrested again. This time for another murder charge. He was declared insane. He was sent to a psychiatric hospital. By 1998, he was released under supervision. His current whereabouts are unknown. Why this case matters. Pedro Lopez may be the deadliest serial killer ever recorded. Yet he served fewer years than his victims had lived. His release raised global outrage. It exposed flaws in sentencing laws. And it left families across South America without closure. His crimes remain a reminder of the darkest capacities of man. The lives of hundreds of children were stolen. Their names deserve to be remembered above his. These were the world's most notorious serial killers. Their names echo in history. Bundy, Dahmer, Gacy, Ramirez, Chikatilo, Raider, Wuornos, Lopez, Fish, and the Faceless Ripper. Each left scars. Families broken. Communities terrified. Lives stolen far too soon. But these stories are not just about killers. They are about the victims. Young women with dreams. Children with futures. Parents who never came home. If you found this video informative, share it responsibly. Honor the victims. Learn the lessons. And remember, evil is real, but awareness saves lives. Thank you for watching.